Yo, real quick, I'm gonna tell you all why I am never going back to 5.56. Very happy with this rifle, but I can't go back to that caliber. Meaning, this is probably going to be the only 5.56 rifle that I ever get. It's my do-it-all family survival rifle. Um, it's been great. I've never had a malfunction with this thing. I have over 3,000 rounds in it. I wouldn't expect to have any malfunctions, but I mean, I've never had like any malfunctions, nothing. So she has ate everything, tons of different ammo, different weights, different name brands. She does it all. Kind of surprised that Daniel Defense didn't include adjustable gas in this, especially for the price that they want for these things. Obviously, I'm getting other rifles, and for even half the price point, a lot of them are coming with adjustable gas. Also, in my opinion, this rifle is pretty much made for a suppressor. Now, I don't have a suppressor, and I'm probably not going to get one unless a lot of things change. Uh, but I would think that, a rifle like this, made for suppression, you would want an adjustable gas block on there. I can always get one myself if I really feel the need to. But so far, she has just been awesome the way that she is. I have some very simple optics on here that are very easy to replace. We do have the Magpul drum just because they work so well. And I left the brace on it. The brace is a must because I have a bullet in my left arm, and if I use my left arm too much, put too much strain on it, I get a dead spot. So not cool. What are you gonna do? Have the ability to pull this out of here and attach this to my right arm if I ever need to. There's also a bunch of extra paracord here, and paracord can be used for everything and anything from shelter to tourniquet or anything like that. I have plenty of it here, right? So this is what I've done with the pistol brace. I also did this to make it unshoulderable, and this also, when I shoot this rifle, this connects with my chest. My shoulder is kept far away from this, so I've went out of my way to make sure that this thing is not getting shouldered. At the same time, this making contact with my chest gives this rifle more stability. And that's really what I want. This thing is a dream to shoot. Aside from that, I thought about getting a roller cam pin for it, just to maybe extend the life of the upper, and that's debatable. So I've had a great experience with this gun, but if you take away my ability to have full auto, which is kind of where we're at right now, really the only choice I have is to go up in caliber. Just because of the way that 5.56 works, it is not really substantial stopping power. High velocity round, fairly light rounds. This original rifle design was approved and used by the military, I think, because of two things. This system is easier and cheaper to feed. 5.56 ammo is much smaller for the military as far as they're concerned. You can fit twice as many rounds on a ship, on a container, on a Jeep, in a crate, right? And you're just going to have a much easier time getting more ammo to your troops. Obviously, the U.S. military is always in conflict everywhere but the U.S. So wherever there's a war that the U.S. is involved in, we're constantly shipping a ton of ammo and gear and everything out there that you could possibly need in order to sustain whatever they're doing there. So that's kind of what this caliber is made for. And as great as it is because of how common it is here, I just think there are more potent calibers that I would rather trust my life with. At the same time, this rifle serves its purpose because we can always get ammo for it. We can always find ammo for it. Bam, a little bit of Hollywood magic. Actually, we just had to charge the device up for a second. I think the point that I was on when this all happened was pretty much this caliber goes a long way when you are trying to pin people in trenches for trench warfare. It's like what a lot of this design was made for. Because back in the day, that's what you were doing. You were pinning people in trenches until your artillery could hit them. It's hard to do when they're moving around in the trench or changing trenches. So if you could have a constant like flow of gunfire, keeping people pinned in the trenches, that was the way to go. And this cartridge was the best for it. Because as you can see here, it's much smaller. So less material getting fired with each shot at a very high velocity. Nobody wants to get shot with a 5.56. But then again, we're talking about full auto rifles here. You know, they had burst fire, they had full auto. They could really send a whole wall of these flying. And on the civilian market, that's just not the case. So give me semi-auto fire instead. Don't get me wrong, 5.56 can be very effective, right? Especially when you have, you know, a higher capacity of them. It can still be very effective, but when it comes down to my life being on the line and I have to shoot, you know, one of these rounds, which one do you think I'm going to choose, right? The other thing is to accessibility. Here in the US, you're always going to be able to find a 5.56. That doesn't mean that there's not other options, though. The one in the middle right here is an AK round. It's a 7.62 by 39. They're fairly common just because, you know, they're the enemy's guns. The caliber's been around just as long, right? So you can find them, and you can find them at a cheap price. I do have an AK, and that's why I have this. I love the AK. Part of the reason I got the AK, and this actually ties in with the 5.56. When my buddy Dave was in Iraq, he was in a transport, and they got bushwhacked. They got, you know, ambushed, and they used an IED explosive. Dave's buddy that was up in the turret, unfortunately, melted, and Dave tried to climb up there and get his hands on the gun. And unfortunately, as soon as Dave got up there, these guys were smart enough to realize that there's a machine gun up there and they're all going to get cut in half. So one of them shot Dave in the chest with an AK. So with this center round right here, 7.62 by 39. And thank goodness Dave was wearing one of Uncle Sam's best plate carriers, right? So Dave is still alive, don't worry, right? Or he obviously would have never been able to tell me about this. But that's it. That's the end of the story. Because when Dave woke up, he was getting loaded in a medevac. So that is how hard the center round hit Dave in a plate carrier. It blacked him out. He doesn't even know exactly how long he was out. He just woke up already getting loaded into a helicopter. So a bigger round can hold more energy to transfer onto a target. There have been complaints about the 5.56 that because the round is so little, they're having to shoot insurgents like, you know, 4 or 5 times to put them down. If you're getting attacked by a bear, this would be the last cartridge you would want to use, right? Don't get me wrong, it's still a rifle cartridge. That's the other thing too. This cartridge being so little is made to be shot out of like a 22 or a 24-inch barrel. This is not that. This is a 10.5-inch barrel, and so I'm not getting anywhere near the ballistics to make this thing as lethal as it should be. So this rifle right here does not do that well out past like 300 yards. It does not want to shoot the distance. These other rounds, on the other hand, say what you will about being able to shoot an AK accurately. The AK bullet retains more energy. It can be lethal out further. So it's kind of the way that I look at it is the 5.56 is more accurate out there, because it's a faster round. Gravity doesn't have as much time to pull on it, so there's less droppage to, have to put into your calculations, right? But wind blows around a 5.56 more than these heavier bullets. So there's that. On a windy day, you're probably better off with a heavier round where, I mean, bullet drop is like a constant thing. It's much easier to factor in than crazy wind. So there's that. There's the stopping power. Like, that brought me straight to the 7.62 by 39, the AK round. And then over here is my answer to the problem. This is a 308. That's right. This is a 308. I'm waiting for an eagle to fly down and carry this damn thing away. 308 is just where it's at, in my opinion. These rifles have come so far that you can have the capability of using 308 in a normal sized rifle, an AR-10. I think AR-10s have come a long way, especially in the market. Let's get one of them in here. AR-10s have come a long way. I think they're absolutely awesome. This is actually my most budget gun. This is a PA-10 from Primary Arms. I got this for a little bit under $6. Now that is freaking impressive, and I didn't know what to expect with this gun. It was just going to be a fun range toy. It was going to be my test gun, right? Anything that I wanted to do with 308, well, I didn't have to worry about this. I could throw it in here, and if anything bad happens, this is only a $600 rifle. So it's kind of one of those things where, because it costs less, I can be more brave with it. You better believe if I was going to spray paint a gun for the very first time, yeah, I'd probably start with this PA-10 and not my Daniel Defense. That just makes sense to me. But AR-10s have become lighter. This is an 18-inch barrel, 308 AR-10. I have another barrel for this. It's a 16-inch barrel, but this thing shoots so well in the configuration that it's in, the way that it was put together. I put the 16-inch barrel away. If I ever finish shooting the piss out of this barrel, then that's what I'll swap it with next, and this will be a 16-inch. But I'm at the point right now where if I see a really killer deal on a 308, like a 16-inch normal size rifle 308, that is fully modern like this, well, I'm probably going to have to look into that. The prices of these are finally starting to come down. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of them out there that are $2,000-$3,000, but Ruger's got the SFAR, and that thing only weighs 7.5 pounds. There was some gas issues that some people reported. Yeah, speaking of, that's the other thing. All of these come with an adjustable gas block. All of them that I've seen. So, you got a $2,000 gun right here without an adjustable gas block. And then you have a $600 gun right here with an adjustable gas block. And this one has been shooting true. I mean, I haven't had any malfunctions out of this rifle either. And I've put probably about 2,000 rounds through these things. So, yeah, on a side note, I don't talk about guns unless I've put thousands of rounds through them. That might not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but just know that there are people that will put 200 or 300 rounds through a gun, and they will try to review them. So on another note too, this video is not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by anybody. If I was, I would tell you, and I would tell you exactly how they sponsored me. Full transparency. That's what you're always going to get with me. All of this is mine, so you guys don't really have to worry about any bias here. I'm just giving you my solid, honest opinion. 308 is what I'm going to be going with. There's just so much more power in it. The only downside is more material just costs more money, and I'm shooting a bullet that's much bigger. So where 5.56 costs, I don't know, 50 cents a round, these are going to be $1 a piece. So I think that the 308 is the rifle I'm going to go with. But I have kids that need to be trained. I have two young boys that need to be trained on how to use these things properly. We're going to be using 5.56 to train them. That only makes sense, right? Now, do I want them to just slap on a super high round count on the Daniel Defense? Yeah, probably not. So I'm thinking maybe a Dalton or like a $400 AR that they can just shoot the piss out of until, you know, the barrel goes out on it. I think I'm going to pick something like that up just to chew through some 5.56 ammo. But for me, for my rifles, as far as I'm concerned, this will be the last 5.56 that I ever own. Um, yeah, I'm actually the Delton. I probably won't own that either. That'll be Ivan's. Definitely, I'll make him go do that. So everything else that I'm going to be messing with is just in 308. And I'm just telling you what makes sense for me. This isn't going to make sense for everybody. Some people are going to want the lower recoil for the 5.56. Some people are going to have more reason to stay with the 5.56. To me, I I don't really need to get into it. I just feel like I can get more out of like a 308 rifle, and I can support a 308 rifle. I can handle the little bit of extra weight. I've messed around with rifles and stuff long enough now to know how to tame recoil better. So I'm definitely going to be getting a wonder stock for any 16-inch 308 because I already anticipate what kind of recoil that's going to be. It is nice that it will have an adjustable gas system, so I'll be able to turn that down and tune it out a little bit. But to me, at this point, there is no comparison. And actually, I think the dude from the Classic Military Arms channel, I'm pretty sure he said the same thing. He's just not really messing with 5.56 anymore, just because there are just better, more powerful calibers. Again, to me, it ultimately comes down to if you take away my rate of fire, I'm going to go up in caliber. If I can't shoot as many bullets out there, I'm going to want to make sure that each one of my bullets is twice as effective if I can, right? And yeah, this is how I feel about it. Leave me a comment, let me know if there's anything I missed, or just let me know what your preferred caliber is and why. Later, have an awesome day, everybody.